Hey, basketball coaches, today I'm going to talk to you about a very good question that a lot of coaches ask, whether they be amateur, beginner coaches, or seasoned coaches who have been coaching basketball for many, many years. And that is, what do you do if you've got a very good, advanced player on your team? How are you supposed to coach them? That is the biggest question that I get asked by so many coaches you wouldn't believe. Now, these are my own personal thoughts, and a lot of these tips can go into coaching regular players as well, not just advanced players. Now, going back, almost every single year that I've coached, I had 1, 2, or even 3 players who are way higher level skilled players than the rest of the team. So I have a little bit of an insight on this topic. Now, number 1, this is the biggest thing. Don't be one of those coaches who are overbearing and try and make the players think that you are the biggest hard coach to ever be playing for. You don't want to get the players out of the sport. A lot of coaches will really drill a lot of their players hard and then just keep on yelling at them. And in their mind, they're saying, well, I'm making them stronger. Now, some players do really like that kind of communication, but they're few and far in between, especially in the day and age that we are in today. What you should be doing is, of course, complimenting the players and also making sure that that player wants to stay in the sport. I've seen so many players who are very, very good, who have just one really bad coach, who just does not know how to make a team atmosphere, and that player and many other players on that team drop off, they leave, they stop playing the sport, they turn 25, 26, they get back into the gym and say, hey, this basketball thing was a lot of fun. I wish I never quit that team. And then they get down on themselves. But the one thing, and that goes for every player, it doesn't matter if they're an advanced player or number 12 on the team, you want them to be staying in the sport for a very long time. Of course, there are those players sometimes where they just don't come to practice and things like that, and you need to be hard on them. But if they're always coming to practice, they're always trying to improve, they're skill-wise above everybody else, you want to try and keep them in the sport, compliment them, but still say, hey man, like what... When you drove towards the rim, there was 3 players open. You drove into a triple team. That's not the greatest thing for you to do. And how I like to have explained to the coaches is, especially if it's a player who can be coached but doesn't like to be told that they did something wrong, what I like to do and how I like to explain it is, on your iPad or something, get somebody to record the games so that you can go over the games with all of the players, not just that one individual, and say, now, number 6, what you should have done, see when you drove, those 2 players dropped off. If you pass that ball out to one of those players, they're going to be able to get an open shot from you. Or what you could also do is kick the ball out, keep on cutting towards the rim, post up for a second, because now that's freeing up space. You've got those defenders popping off of you. They're going to defend that ball man. He can pass it back to you, and you can do a one dribble post move, and you've got yourself your points anyways, and now you're being a team player as well, and things like that. You can obviously change the words up to however which way that you would like, but again, video does help complement anything that you're trying to fix with a player. But also, going over even NBA games with a player and breaking down and saying, hey, this is a mistake that Shaquille O'Neal did, or this is a mistake that Pascal Siakam did, or this is a mistake that Allen Iverson did back 20 years ago. Doing stuff like that, they might say, oh no, I just did that in the game and I shouldn't have. So things like that can really help out a player, and especially an advanced player who's going to be wanting to understand the game a little bit more. You can really make the player understand by just watching game tape and breaking it down and explaining to those players what they should have done instead. Now, number 2 is the one thing that I've seen a lot of coaches do is remove those 2 or 3 really good players from the team, put them on the other side of the court, go through more advanced single player drills, and then have the rest of the team practicing on the other end. Personally, that's not something that I like to do, mainly because now they're being removed from the team and they're not going to be able to now get used to playing with the other players on the team, so that when it comes to the game time, they're going to be saying, well, they're going to have the mindset of, well, us 3 are better than the rest of them. We don't need to pass to them. We can just keep it within the rest of us 3 and say screw the rest of the team. And a lot of advanced players will have that mindset if you split them up. But if you keep them together in practice, you're going to be a heck of a lot more successful when it comes to the game. Another reason why you want to have all your players practicing together is, for one, of course, the competitiveness. The more advanced players are going to be obviously being more advanced, more skillful when it comes on the basketball court, so that now when those players are playing up against the rest of the team is going to be getting better, whether it be on offense or on defense, when they're going up against those players. I've seen it many, many times where I've had a really, really good point guard, and I had some bench point guards as well who would come on, and they became spectacular defensive players because in their mind, and I ran drills that were competitive, that were trying to make those really good offensive players be able to score on the rest of the team and things like that. There's a couple of different drills that you can really get into, but those players who were not getting that much playing time were now becoming very skillful on defense, and they were working on their shot because I made it a very competitive season where when they would come in, they wanted to shoot better than those really good players. And of course, the rest of the team knows who the really good players are. It's not just you. So if you can make a competitive team where they're competing in practice, it's going to make the whole team better. And of course, that's what you want to do as well. It's not just about making that a really advanced player really become heads and shoulders above everybody else, but of course, still working on their game, but helping out the rest of the team to raise them up so that now they are the same, or at least close to the same skill level as that really spectacular player, so that now you have a more well-rounded team. Let's take the Toronto Raptors as a great example of this. They have players like Kyle Lowry, who is, of course, one of the best players on the team and is clearly one of the top 3 players to ever play for the Toronto Raptors. And he comes in every single year and he helps out a player. So more recently, we heard that he was helping out Pascal Siakam earlier on in Siakam's career. And now look where Siakam is. Now they have Fred VanVleet helping out Terrence Davis II. If you don't know who Terrence Davis II is, believe me, in 2 years, you're going to know who that guy is, because he is going to be absolutely insane. That guy's hops are crazy, his defense is amazing, and his ability to shoot is more surprising than anything else, because in the scouting report preseason, I never heard about his shooting ability. As soon as the season came, he was a shooter. It was fantastic. I loved seeing that. But he also is betting on himself. They're 2 very similar players. Both players, VanVleet and Terrence Davis Jr., both undrafted, and that's why they got VanVleet helping out Terrence Davis. And this is some of the things that you can do on your team. You can get some of your top players and talk to them and say, hey, I want you to take little Johnny under your wing and say, hey man, like in practice, pull him aside and say, hey, that was great, man. I want you to keep on driving. When you're driving, look for that layup. Look to attack that bigger man and make contact. Hey, when you're driving and making contact, my guy, he's the guy playing defense on me. He's dropping off to help out with you. Kick it out so I can jack that 3 or whatever it is. And that is going to be able to help not just the competitiveness, but also help out the whole team spirit of the whole team. And it's going to help you as a coach, but also your players as a team succeed with you. Now, of course, I recommend every single coach, no matter what, whether you have an advanced player or not, to try and get a list of your local basketball trainers, because almost every single big city has a few of them, and say, hey, guys, if you really want to work, and of course, you might want to talk to those trainers first before you start sending players their way. I would personally talk to them because I know in this area, there's a few really good trainers and there's a few kind of iffy ones, but always talk to the trainers, but then talk to your players and say, hey, here's a list of things that you could improve on over the summer or over the off season. Here is that list. Here's a list of trainers that you might want to check out, and talk to their parents as well, so that next year when they come in, they are hopefully at the same level as those advanced players are, and if not, at least those advanced players, if they put in the time and work and contacted the trainers and things like that, they might have even been lifted up as well, and you will have an even better team next year. But of course, the whole main goal as a youth basketball coach is, of course, winning, but the reason why those youth basketball coaches win is because they put in the work to make the team want to play. About making it fun, making it competitive, making it so those players don't want to leave, because that is the one thing you do not want to do, is to have players want to leave the team and leave the sport. You never want to see that. And if you are able to make the team competitive, and also make it fun, and want the players to be at practice, and want the players to be at the game, you are going to be then winning a lot of your games. I hope that this video has helped you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.